The world is gripped by panic. An unexpected type of mutation is affecting the DNA of healthy individuals. The infected person undergoes changes in appearance, behavior, and acquires animal instincts. Bones break and form the skeleton of a fauna representative. The skin is covered with thick fur, scales, or feathers. Scientists cannot determine the cause of the disease. The events take place in the southwest of France. François is raising his 16-year-old son, Emile, alone. Like any teenager at this age, Emile argues with his father about anything. François, Emile, and their dog, Albert, are stuck in traffic. The boy praises the pet and encourages him with chips. The father asks not to feed either himself or the dog with this junk food, as food, like the language you speak, determines who you are. Emile smiles at this remark. The man takes out a shirt from the back seat and hands it to his son. He warns that they are late for the clinic. Emile refuses to change because the shirt smells like fish. François raises his tone, insisting on his way. Emile can't withstand the pressure from his father and gets out of the car. In confusion, François heads towards his son and asks him to return to the car. A strange commotion and screams in the ambulance car draw his attention. A creature, vaguely resembling a half-human, half-bird, falls onto the windshield of the adjacent car. François and Emile crouch between two cars, hoping not to be noticed. Even the loudly barking dog falls silent. The mutant breaks free and runs towards them. It freezes, towering over the car that shielded the Marandes family. The feet resemble bird claws, and the left hand resembles an eagle's wing. A bandage on the head hides the human face. The mutant emits a hoarse cry and moves away in an unknown direction. Such cases were not unexpected for them. Moreover, their close relative also fell under the influence of the mysterious virus. François and his son return to the car and hurry to the planned meeting. The doctor invites Mr. Marandas into the office. 3 weeks ago, his wife and Emile's mother were hospitalized in this clinic. Her DNA began to mutate, and animal instincts momentarily overshadowed human consciousness. The mother injured her own son, leaving deep scratches on his face. She was taken away to protect those around her. The doctor informs that Miss Marandes's condition has stabilized. The patient no longer experiences aggression attacks. There is a chance that the treatment will help alleviate the course of the disease. Another piece of positive news is the possibility of transferring Lana to the center soon. The doctor checks if the family members are willing to move to the town near the southern shelter for the infected and receives consent from François. Emile is angry that his father did not discuss the move with him. In an attempt to smooth things over, François refers to the list of terrible epidemics that humanity has overcome. But this fact does little to calm Emile. The doctor decides to change the subject and suggests visiting the patient. In Lana's room, her husband is the first to approach her. François asks his wife questions, knowing in advance that he won't get answers. He sits next to her, hugs her shoulders, and talks about the benefits of walks in the fresh air. Emile mentally processes what's happening around him. He runs his hand over the claw marks on the wall. The boy doesn't understand why he should talk to his mom when she won't even recognize him. François convinces him that it's important for the whole family. Only by the outline of her silhouette, Lana resembled a human. Her face was covered with thick fur, and her breathing was heavy and growling, like that of a wild animal. François moves with his son to a small town located near the shelter. Emile transfers to a new school 2 months before the end of the academic year. This causes confusion among his classmates. Nina turns out to be the most active in the class. The girl asks many tactless questions. Emile attributes the transfer to another school to his father's job. When asked about his parents, he says that his dad is a chef and his mom is deceased. Interrupting the awkward pause, the teacher suggests Emile take a seat at the desk. Nina feels guilty for her excessive curiosity and raises her hand. The girl apologizes to her classmate for her behavior. Emile sincerely smiles and sees no problem in it. After classes, Emile arrives at his father's new workplace. François introduces his son to the establishment's owner, Jacques, and colleague Neva. Jacques warmly welcomes Emile and offers him a part-time job, which pleases the boy. Storm, heavy rain, and gusts of wind cause power outages. François tries to fix the fuses and loudly expresses his frustration, which annoys Emile. In the lightning flashes, the boy notices a creature on the terrace of the house. A second later, the infected creature disappears. François is informed about the nighttime incident. The wind knocked down a tree onto the road, causing an accident. Vehicles transporting creatures went off the road. François grabs Emile's hand and rushes towards the accident site. Gendarmes forcibly stop the man. At that moment, François meets Officer Julie. She informs him that his wife is listed as missing and promises to keep him updated. Concerned about his wife's fate, the man spreads his belongings around the perimeter of the yard, believing that Lana will come by the scent of her family. Emil refuses to participate, convincing his father that his mom won't come back. During physical education class, Marandaz helps the weaker team in tug-of-war. The strong group makes a sudden pull, causing all opponents except Emil to fall. The boy holds the rope alone, waiting for the other participants to get up. Winning this competition, Emil looks at his hands in bewilderment and runs home in confusion. In addition to his new physical abilities, Emil pulls out a wolf claw from under his nail. He hurriedly undresses and examines his body. The thoracic spine begins to deform. Emil hits the wall as if wanting to scratch off the painfully itchy skin. The loud barking of the dog causes terrible irritation. The boy doesn't know what to do next. While shopping, Francois encounters Officer Julie. During their conversation, he learns that she has been suspended from the search for missing persons. A deafening scream echoes through the store. A hungry mutant with octopus-like tentacles tries to escape from the police, pelting the pursuers with products from the shelves. The gendarmes catch the creature and hospitalize it in the shelter. The officer is curious about Francois's strange shopping list. Francois shares his plans for a search expedition for his beloved. The officer reminds him that staying in the forest is strictly prohibited, but does not discourage him from this endeavor. Marandaz voices his plans for the weekend. Emil mentions that he has been invited to a party, but his father objects. Once again, the son walks away from the argument, showing his protest. During the party, Emil starts feeling unwell, distracted attention, and impaired coordination. Make it seem like he's drunk. A sudden loud roar in the distance from the house attracts the attention of the students and gives Emil the opportunity to escape into the bushes. The young man regains consciousness on the riverbank. His mouth is smeared with blood mixed with feathers of some bird. When Emil returns home, he cleans himself up and decides not to tell his father about his condition. During the expedition, Emil asks his father if he blames him for his mother's isolation from the family. Not receiving clear answers, they systematically explore the piece of territory marked on the map. On the way to the campsite, Francois desperately cries out his wife's name, hoping she will hear him. Emil, watching his father, smiles and hands him water. He learns the answer to his most pressing question, whether his father loved his mother as much when she fell ill. The father asks to find the disc with the song they first danced to. Playing Lana's favorite song, they turn up the volume, hoping for a response from the remnants of her consciousness. The son joins his father and also calls for his mother, which greatly pleases Francois. In the morning, Emil sets out to search for the dog. The boy barely has time to react to its barking when the ground slips from under his feet. A birdman lands on top of him, flapping its wings furiously. Before his father arrives, the creature manages to injure the teenager's hand. Francois fends off the infected with a stick and leads his son away. Emil refuses to go to the clinic, understanding the dangers. Passing by the horse farm, the Marandaz family meets Officer Julie, who is investigating the attacks on horses by creatures. Seeing Emil's injured hand, she offers medical assistance at the police department. Back home, the boy removes the stitches and starts licking the wound. As his animal instincts intensify, his human skills weaken. Riding a bicycle becomes a big challenge, just like heightened sound perception. Nina supports Emil and invites him over. The kids talk a lot about hobbies and the prospects of boring adult life. Classmates go to the kitchen to snack. Opening the fridge, the boy finds a dead bird with the same feathers he spat out yesterday. As the girl explains, she found it on her doorstep and kept it to take to the creature feeding station. Emil changes the subject and compliments Nina on her body scent. Instinct compels Emil to go hunting. He catches 2 fish with his bare hands. He eats one himself and brings the other to the creature that recently injured him. The birdman eagerly dives into the food. He thanks Emil for the fish and asks him to leave. In his opinion, every mutant is on their own. Instead, the boy decides to get to know him better. Emil notices that the creature is learning to fly and gets severely injured when hitting the ground. The boy assures Fix, as he's called, that he knows the perfect place for training. After clearing the lake of protruding branches, Marandaz offers his new friend to test his strength. With each leap, Fix hones his skills. Emil genuinely rejoices in his success. At this time, at work, Francois encounters a creature resembling a walrus. Neva asks the mutant to calmly leave, but the man stumbles over a chain and startles it. The frightened walrus runs out to the visitors and hides in the forest. Patrol police arrive at the establishment. Francois shares his assumptions with Officer Julie. He thinks he saw the wife as well. Later, Emil appears. apologizing for being late, arguing that his bike was stolen. The mutation becomes more pronounced. During lunch in the school cafeteria, the boy loses a tooth. He jokes that it's a milk tooth and feels for a wolf fang. Emil visits Fix every day. He bandages the boy's face. Fix tells him that foolish people operated on him, but the most painful part of his transformation is the loss of his voice. Emil also shares his discomfort with wolf fur, cracking in his spine, and itchy skin. Francois finds Emil's transportation in the forest. At home, in the cluttered sink, the father discovers wolf claws. Francois silently shows the find to his son and asks to see his hands. The son evades, hiding his hands in his pockets. The father demonstrates the bicycle and suggests taking a ride. Emil realizes that Dad has figured it all out. Afraid of his reaction, the boy tries to escape. Francois catches up to his son and hugs him tightly. In the morning, the family makes a decision. Until the end of the school year, Emil must strictly monitor his appearance, behavior, and medication intake. The city is preparing for the Sanzak celebration. In charge of the buffet, Emil is late for work again. Francois is horrified to look at his hands, and he becomes scared. It's terrifying to imagine what will happen to him if he loses his son too. The father angrily reprimands the boy for his irresponsibility and roughly cuts his wolf claws. Nina meets a distraught Emil and suggests they find some privacy. Ending up in a field, the pair make love. Running her hand over his altered back, the girl's suspicions are confirmed, which she is immensely relieved about. Returning to the other kids, one of Emil's classmates follows him to the restroom. He uses an ultrasonic signal to repel animals. The irritating sound disrupts the infected one's state. To end the torment and escape, Emil pushes away the bully, accidentally injuring him. The classmate's scream halts the celebration. The men set out to search for the potentially dangerous creature. Emil runs towards the lake. Fix tries to protect his friend, but one of the patrol officers injures him during flight. Emil bids farewell to his bloodied friend, realizing there's nothing he can do to help. The boy runs for a day without stopping. Tired and hungry, he finds a cave in the forest. In the morning, a creature comes to Emil. A pair of amber eyes gaze intently at the boy. Emil hears the familiar scent and realizes it's his mother. He approaches her so close that their foreheads touch. Lana gently pushes Emil back into the cave, but he leans back towards her face, trying to remember every second of their meeting. Mother stubbornly nudges her son into hiding, as if protecting him from danger. A couple of minutes later, she runs away. The boy emerges from the cave and sees many perfectly beautiful creatures around him. Suddenly, the patrol service appears and blankets the forest with smoke bombs. The police find the boy and take him to the station. At the department, they hand the boy over to his father, suspecting nothing. Emil tries to sign the protocol but forgets how to do it. The gendarme hears an irritated growl and realizes the boy is sick. Francois knocks out the policeman. The Marindesi family calmly walks to the car. On the way, Emil tells them that he saw his mom in the forest. He recalls a funny story about trips to Mont Blanc. Emil reconstructs the events of that day bit by bit and laughs fondly, looking at his father. Hearing the sirens of cars, the father speeds up. Emil smells chips and wrinkles his nose at the unpleasant odor. He assumes his father is taking him to a shelter. Francois rejects this thought and demonstratively eats a handful of chips as a gesture of complete understanding. When they break away from the chase, Francois tells his son to run. Emil takes his father's hand and gratefully looks into his eyes. Francois watches as his son disappears into the thickets of the forest and realizes that they have never been as close as they are now.